Refresh it. Okay. $5 rock and roll. Hi, everyone. My name is J Rock, and right next to me is Mr. Frank Walls. Welcome to Distorted Realities.
What up, guys? How you doing today? I hope you're gonna like this episode. It's gonna be really, really packed with a lot of stuff that you guys gonna like. I sure really think that you're gonna love this one.
All right. So, this week, Behind the Walls with Frank Walls.
And rocking around with J Rock, right?
Yeah, we've been rocking out.
Rocking out.
Some inquiries were made, right, about how we make this research, and I think that it'd be good to answer. So why don't you show them how we do this?
Yeah, we got some books that we reference some stuff here and there, and one is Alien Encounter. It was written by Rupert Matthews, right here. There you go. Good book. And we have another one. It's called Encyclopedia of the Paranormal by Karen Farrington, right here. And we also have, this is gonna be maybe for a later segment that we're gonna be doing. We have a whole encyclopedia here. Myths and legends. We got the ancient Egyptian myths, Greek myths, and Norse myths.
So, in short, what we do is we go into the interwebs and conduct research on various themes that we decide we're going to talk about. And from there, we make selections and we essentially plan out the week as to what we're going to discuss. So what is it we do at Distorted Realities? Essentially, we gather this information. We talk about cryptids, paranormal, the weird, the bizarre, and we share it with you guys for you to discover the unknown and come up with your own truths and make for conversation. So before we do that, I want to segue into a different piece. And for those of you who are interested in the culture, cigar culture, beer craft culture, there is a company or a website, I'm sorry, in YouTube, a channel called Bacchus and Hef. So for those of you who are interested, please go to youtube.com at Bacchus and Hef, and there you'll be able to see information regarding the culture that is cigar culture, beer craft culture, gun culture, and just the lifestyle. And moving on. So, with that being said, why don't you take us away to the next segment?
We're gonna go to the cryptid section, guys, and we're gonna have a lot of information here for your delay, okay?
All right. So the first one on the list.
It's called La Bruja del Caño.
So, La Bruja del Caño.
Yeah.
Where's it from?
That's a story from my hometown in Puerto Rico, town of Isabela. And according to the story, it was a woman that she was gonna get married the next day, and she went dancing with his boyfriend. And on her way back, they had an accident, and she couldn't get married. And apparently, a lot of people have seen it in that road called El Caño. It's like a very, very dark and curvy, a lot of curves and stuff, in a very narrow road. And it says that if you pass there around midnight or later at night, you will see it. And a lot of people have give a ride to her in the car. And when they leave the road, she disappear from the car, or sometimes they just pass by. When they look the rear view mirror, she's sitting in the back of the car. And a lot of cars stop working, or they have accidents due to seeing the ghost in that area.
So, so would you identify this as a cryptid or a ghost?
More like a entity.
An entity. So it's like a local legend.
Yeah, it's a
So,
very.
so this one is interesting because I knew nothing about this. You know, when you search for cryptids, they're like the main ones. You have Bigfoot,
Yeah.
Yeti, you know, the Beast of Bray Road, and all this other stuff. But you never see local legends spoken about. So this was a pretty interesting one. I'm pretty sure there's tons of towns and villages that have their own local legends and lore. If you are on the chat, please be sure to just shoot us some information on it, and we'll start digging into it
Oh,
and
yeah.
see what we can present. So don't you notice that when we talk about these entities, there's a common thread, which is they're dressed in white.
Yeah.
They're very beautiful until something happens and it becomes very ugly. So what is this cara del indio?
The El Cara del Indio was it was a structure that they made there like a sculpture on a rock in the entrance of that road, because accordingly in that valley over there was an Indian chief called Mabodamaka. So the face is of the Indian Mabodamaka. It was a native Indian, so that was like his territory. That was his domain.
Okay. So why don't you segue it to the video?
Yeah, let's check the video, guys. I hope you like it.
La Bruja del Caño. This legend originated in Isabela, Puerto Rico, near the famous face of the Indian statue. Legend has it, she walks the roads there with the hope of someone giving her a ride and desires to go out dancing at night. To the driver's dismay, the car stops working, or worse, ends up in a tragic accident that has reportedly resulted in fatalities. Be careful who you pick up in the roads of Isabela, as it can be your last.
That was cool.
It was.
Yeah.
So what is your thoughts on it altogether? You think this is like a real thing, or?
I think it's real. We grew up with this legend, and everybody was terrified to drive through that road at night because like a lot of people have seen it. It's not like that's why I think it's real, because there were like local people that was like, yeah, man, don't pass through there. I saw it. You know, this, look at this. They will give you descriptions and everything, and a lot of cars will stop working there. So imagine you go on a road at night and your car stop working, and then you see this ghostly figure. What you gonna do? You know, it's very, very scary.
All right. I feel differently.
Yeah.
I feel like there's too many female ghosts on the road.
All right.
I think if you look at the map, in every town there's gonna be one of those.
Yeah.
Some more interesting than others. I just need to. We need to take a break from ghostly female apparitions for a while.
She just
After
wanted to
this
get
episode.
married. She wanted the ring, you know.
Right. So there you go. Give them a ring. If you're a man and you're about to get married, give her a ring, or you'll be haunted for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's move on to the next. And this one is my personal favorite for the week. The Loveland Frogman. Yeah. So the Loveland Frogman originated in Ohio in the 1950s. It's reportedly sighted in the Ohio River for the most part, but it has been spotted in some of the smaller surrounding lakes around the Ohio River. Humanoid, frog-like features, glowing eyes. There's actually video footage circulating the internet regarding that. Essentially, it has this aggressive behavior when it confronts someone who's in close proximity. It tends to just follow that individual.
Do you think they could be like territorial creatures? Maybe that's why,
Well, I mean, it's possible.
right?
It's possible, but there's not much in terms of reported attacks, but rather just stalker-like behavior, right? But I thought it was interesting because Ohio has a lot of these water cryptids that they talk about
Yeah.
on the river. This is one of two that we're going to talk about today. But that would be creepy, right? You know, you're going out you're going out for a swim near the river or lake, and you know,
Ima-
people, you see this huge frog just coming up at you, right?
With
Like,
shining yellow eyes.
with shining
Wow.
yellow eyes. So, what's the lesson learned? You don't swim at night
No,
in
sir.
rivers or lakes.
No, not even the beach. Yeah.
So yeah. So
This is what I got here. It says, according to various legends, the creature was first sighted by a businessman or a traveling salesman driving along an unnamed road late at night in 1955, with some versions of the story specifying the month of May. In one story, the driver was heading out to the Brush Hill neighborhood when he spotted three figures stood erect on their hind legs alongside of the road, about like 3 or 4 feet tall.
yeah,
That's a big frog.
that's it. That's more than a frog.
Yeah.
So, to honor you, the Loveland Frogman, we did a video montage. So let's go check it out.
Let's look.
The Loveland Frogman originated in Ohio. This humanoid-like frog species is said to roam the lakes and rivers of Ohio. They are between 3 and 4 feet tall. Allegedly, those who have sighted them near close proximity have stated that the frogman has glowing eyes and will proceed to follow aggressively to whomever is observed. Be careful when attempting to swim in the rivers and lakes of Ohio, as the frogman can make his appearance anytime.
All right. That was the Loveland Frogman.
Nice.
And now to his older brother,
Probably his cousin.
the Octoman. So also a dweller of Ohio River.
Ohio River. Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Same origins, same time frame, 1950s.
1950s.
But this one likes to be in the murky waters of the Ohio River. So in other words, it stays in the deep, dank areas where the water's clear, it's not visible or clear. There's nothing that would indicate that this particular species is aggressive in nature, but it is creepy, the idea of a humanoid-like octopus
Imagine that, right?
in the water, right? It's actually been reported that by a police officer, by the way, or a sheriff in Ohio. It's been reported that this Octoman has been seen on the bridges jumping into the Ohio River. There's not much going on that outside of the actual legend itself. Just so you know, we present these things. Sometimes when we do research, there's not a lot to go by. We check various sites. There are stories. If you prefer stories surrounding this, it's cool. But again, it's hit or miss, right? You don't know if it's true or not. I'd rather just talk about the lore because it's really for you to decide your truth. Overall, I think that the Octoman is an incredible story, right?
Oh yeah.
In my
and
head.
scary.
In my mind, the Octoman feels like a comic book character,
Yeah.
villain, right?
Could be.
For a horror comic. I don't think it's believable enough for me.
Well, it could be that they saw like a big octopus, maybe, but in a river, are there freshwater octopus?
I've never heard of that. I never got that far in the research to determine
Right.
if there is any. But there are mutated species.
Yeah, you never know.
There are species that originated in saltwater and then they end up in fresh water, right?
Could be.
But it is a creepy specimen. In terms of the fear factor rating, that's up the charts. That's a 10 out of 10.
And at the end, every river ends up in the ocean. So, hey, could be, I mean, you never know.
It's possible. So you think it's real?
I think that there's some possibility. Maybe, it could be a mutation of an octopus. There's people have experts, scientific. They have said that the octopus is one of the most smart animals out there. They're
not
really
on-
smart.
And not only that, they have camouflaging capabilities, right? So they can hide in their environments and stuff.
And also their DNA is the only one that is like different compared to any other animal. So they're kind of unique on that way. And they have two hearts. Or two
Right.
brains? Two brains. Two
No,
hearts.
they're two hearts.
Two hearts, right? Something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
could be wrong, but
Yeah.
yeah, Octoman. I think Octoman is a cool looking villain. Is it a cryptid?
Yeah.
That remains to be seen in my eyes, but I think creepy. Yes.
It is creepy. Oh, yeah.
So
Very creepy.
let's take a look at the Octoman video.
Let's watch.
The Octoman. Originated in Ohio, this humanoid-like octopus species is said to roam the Ohio River. Not much is known of this cryptid. However, allegedly this cryptid also has been seen in the creeks and wooded areas of Ohio. Its intention is unknown. However, its appearance has struck fear throughout. Remember to stay away from murky waters, as the Octoman may pull you down with its tentacles.
All right. The video was
Nice.
great.
Very nice.
Um,
Very scary, though.
yeah. Could you imagine that? I mean, people have a hard time fighting off a person with two hands. Imagine fighting one with 8.
Yeah.
So yes, I think it's a little bit interesting to say the least. Anything on the chat?
Yeah, we have some comments here in the chat. We got our nothing but greatness with yo. I know we have our Corrales as well. It says, I actually went to see the Indian Rock. It is amazing. Luckily, we didn't run into the spirit. Hey, you're lucky. You're lucky.
You're lucky because you wasn't driving late at night.
We also have a Deadly Night. Hello, guys. Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Deathly Night?
How you know?
And who's the other one?
That's it for now.
Nothing but greatness. Oh. So yeah, moving on. This is my oh my god! Like I had a field day with this.
Really?
Because we already familiar with some of the American cryptid folklore, and because we're Hispanics, we're familiar with some of our lore.
Yeah.
Right. We spoke about your fan favorite, the Chupacabra.
The Chupacabra.
Right. And today we discovered a new one that I wasn't aware of, but because you're native and your understanding of that specific local township. You're from there, you knew this story, right?
Exactly.
But this one I didn't know about, and this one is great. Let's take a look at the boot.
The boots.
All right, so this is an Indonesian
Spirit.
spirit, but this one is based on revenge.
Wow.
Yeah, so there are various stories, but I'm sticking to the one that made the most plausible sense. It's apparently a ghost or ghoul-like being that was human once and had endured a loss of a child, from what I understand, due to the husband's neglectfulness.
Oh, okay.
And she ended up losing her life in the process
That's another female ghost.
and came back with revenge.
That's another female ghost.
Yeah. But this one doesn't go in cars. This one doesn't wait in the road and ask for a dance. This one is really like in the villages, in the temples,
Nice.
Lurking. It's what they call, so that's particular description, and I just found this out. It's called a churrail.
Cheryl.
So whenever there's a spirit of a person female specifically, who lost a child and is out for revenge, that's what they classify them
Okay.
as. Right? And I think this is very interesting. So what does she do? According to legend, she seeks out revenge. She is a shapeshifter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she can shapeshift.
Oh my god. That's bad.
Yeah. Another cool thing is that when seen in the truest form, they are never walking on the floor. They are
Like floating.
they're literally floating around. But that's when you see them in their true form.
Okay.
They love milk.
Milk.
Yeah. So the information in the description was insane, right? It appears that they don't like iron or water,
Okay.
and they actually fearful of it, right? I guess because ghouls and ghosts are not grounded to the earth, right? They're just roaming spirits.
They're like floating around.
Right? So they're floating around. But Indonesian culture. Very spiritual, very holy, very still not current, right? This fits the mold. This fits the legends. So you know, like when you're a kid, right? And let me just switch the camera to me so that people can see me. When you're a kid and you're sitting down and you're talking about these urban legends and myths, you try to imagine and picture in your mind the location and see if the description of the figure matches the location. If it ties into the culture, if it ties into if it's all coalescing and melding together. That's why I like this one. It does it so well. So always take that into account when you talk about animals or cryptids or anything. It's very hard to not imagine that species tying into something. You're never talking about a fish walking in the sand, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's a mud skipper, which is a specific type of breed of fish that can actually breathe
Yeah.
outside of water, but it requires wet soil.
Yeah, they even hibernate on the
Right. So, moving on, let me just switch here to our cryptid section, our cryptid panel.
The Octoman.
Let's take a look
Origin-
at the boot video because I had a fun time making this one. And again, look at the face.
Yeah, it is scary.
That's a face to really run away from, guys. And if you did something wrong and you're stuck with a boot,
Be careful.
be careful. There's no running away from it. So, yeah. So, the boot.
The boot originated in Indonesia. Legend has it that there's a ghostly female that is set on revenge for the loss of her child. She has the ability to shapeshift in order to lure her victims. Allegedly, she is seen levitating wherever she goes. This cryptid has a fear of water and iron, typically seen in white attire. Rumor has it, once her victims are no more, she eats their souls.
So, what do you think?
Nice. Very interesting and scary.
Anyone in the chat, what did you think about the boot?
We're good.
Okay, so we're good. When you get a chance, just take a look at the video. Let us know your thoughts. I think overall, the videos that we're creating
Very nice.
are getting better.
Better and better
You
with
know,
time.
I think AI is progressing fairly quick, and with better techniques, I think we're going to yield some great results. So moving on to the constellations, to the stars.
Yeah, we're gonna be moving on to the different alien race segment that we have here.
It's called the Alien Files.
Alien Find.
No, it's not the Alien Files. I stand corrected. In Search of Aliens, folks.
Search of alien.
Yeah, so let's go. Let's do it.
Let's hit it.
All right, folks. So here we are in Search of Aliens. There was something I omitted.
What happened?
And I think I need to lend some clarification because I described about the race Mitra, but I never described the species that's here to protect us. They're called the Council of Five.
Finally, we have somebody in our side.
Yeah, it's called the Council of Five, and these are 5 specific alien races that their goal is to protect, educate, and empower the human race, right? Based on the documentation. But the ones that we're covering today are very interesting. One of them ties into this idea of what happened in Miami.
Oh, the
Yeah,
the Molo Miami alien.
yeah. So I kind of like when I read about this race, I said, "Wow, that makes kind of sense," and it ties into that, right? But the first one,
It's called the.
Moviathan
There you go.
Kafik.
Kafik. There you
right?
go.
And they're also referred to as the Shining Ones, right? They're derived from the constellation Vulpecula. They actually met two presidents in the past, and currently, from what I read in the documentation, Russian is one of the current locations they're
Russian leaders.
in, right?
Probably Stalin, right?
I don't know, it could have been, but they're allowed to abduct and experiment in exchange for technology
Wow.
advancements.
That make a lot of sense, though.
I mean, yeah, it does.
When you have these two countries competing for the most technology and advanced airplane and stuff like that, you know.
Right. So what's the downfall of this? Let me just make sure that my screens are correct. Okay, there we go. So here's the problem I have with this specific race, folks. Alien shows up in your home, and it's one thing for you to panic and run in fear, but this particular species is allowed to abduct and experiment with you. There is no one who's going to help you, and that's crazy scary.
It is. It is.
So yeah, I just thought that this particular species gets a pass, man. That's that's like the ultimate hall pass.
They kind of fit that description. You know, a lot of people that have been abducted, right?
Right.
They always say that they get this like paralysis when they're sleeping, and
Right.
that's when they take them or whatever to a spaceship or stuff like that.
There's been reported accounts of abductions in
Yeah.
which the person's lying down and they cannot move at all.
Sleep paralysis. That's what.
Sleep paralysis, and then it ends up being that when they do wake up, they can't move because they're not even in their own beds.
Exactly.
They're in some kind of
Spaceship or laboratory, something like that.
right. So interesting species. The thing that I couldn't find out is where its allegiance. Sometimes
Like which side they are.
yeah. So sometimes in the name of science, people pay prices, right? And that's historically been proven that sometimes you got to do the things that are not right or ethical. Maybe they are allowed to experiment with humans because there's something they want to do to help improve, right? Or they can just do it to improve themselves and they're affiliated with the race matron, right? So yeah, that's the only thing that threw me off for a second because I thought that this species could go either way.
Yeah, it's also said that they supply a limited amount of technology to humans in exchange for freedom to conduct abductions. They do not involve other alien races in this process.
Right.
They had a big role in Siberian and Tibetan culture. They still have bases in those areas hidden in the north face of mountains. They have colonized over 40 planets outside of our solar system. Very interesting.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is. So yeah, Leviathan Kafik, the Shining Ones.
I wonder if when you wake up and they're here, they're like next to your bed or something like that. If you offer them coffee, would
Well,
think
I
they're-
mean, the only way that's going to happen is if they have this really cool distorted realities mug with our names and faces on it. And this is a sample, by the way. We're working on setting up our shop. We do have some really cool shirt designs and other things coming up soon, and you'll all be notified in the social media realm with a lot of this stuff. So yeah, be on the lookout.
you're gonna like it, guys. They're gonna be shirts with the cryptids and all that, and aliens, all that goofy stuff.
It's going to be awesome. So, moving on. Leviathan Kafik video.
Let's roll.
Movantian Kafik. Their origins lie in the constellation Vulpecula. Allegedly, this species have met with two presidents in the past. They provide technological advancements to the humans in exchange for freedom to conduct abductions. They are responsible for the creation of Siberian and Tibetan culture and have bases in the north face of the mountains there. They have colonized more than 40 planets outside our solar system. Be sure to run if you see them, as there will be nothing we can do to get you back.
we are. The next one up.
The next one will be the following. We got
The Invisibles.
The Invisibles.
The Invisibles. So this one is very interesting. And, you know, the incident that happened in Bayside out there in Miami transpired several months ago. And basically, the thought process was they have a lot of traits and descriptions of what these individuals said they saw, right? So to give you context, in Bayside, there was this huge scare. I believe this was the mall, the Bayside Mall.
Yeah, in the mall. They're
So-
in the roof too, in the rooftop of the mall and the inside, I think.
Right. So there was this huge scare about reported sightings of aliens that were going in and out of visibility, right? And cops were all over the place, and reportedly, it was just fireworks being blown out. But a lot of people reported these sightings. This particular species kind of fits, if it was the case, kind of fits the bill for the species that would be there,
Gotcha.
right? Why? Well, let's look at the slide. They're from the constellation Mensa. They tend to be nearby high security areas, but they also like being in highly populated areas.
Gotcha.
They're observers, right?
And because they're invisible, probably, you know, they can disguise, you know.
Right. So the cool thing about it is, you can view them via CCTV. Security footage can capture it, and as well as cameras, and that was proven because people did take pictures.
Yeah.
Now they were blurry, of course, because they weren't in their full view. But according to the documentation, there is technology that has already been created, or there's a known. I guess it's known by those who are dealing with this that there is a technology in place to know when these people are. They're trackable,
Okay.
right? They leave a sour smell behind. It's like a pungent odor.
Like a sulfur.
Yeah, something like that. So they leave this odor behind, and more importantly, when you hear dogs and cats, you know how you
Like
usually
barking.
yeah, usually that's also tied into
The
that.
spirit world.
Yeah, so this particular species kind of got me riled up a bit because I was like, oh, this is crazy. You know, like you have a species that they're invisible. That's what they refer to them as. They're an observer species. They're in high security and overpopulated areas because they know they can't be seen. Who's to say that those are not the individuals, right? That were at Bayside.
Could be also there was another sighting on Vegas. That was the
Right.
same before. That was actually first one. That was the first one. Then the Miami Mall.
Right.
It was like a house in Vegas, and they had video recording, and supposedly nothing happened. But then the federal government went and took those tapes, so nothing happened. And it was the same description, you know, like they were tall, you know, they were shining, glowing, you know.
Right.
So
I like this one. I find this very believable.
oh yeah,
You know, and we always talk about life beyond our planet, you know, and not being the only species alone.
yeah. We
But
cannot
if
be
we
the only
aren't,
ones.
but if we aren't alone, and there is a species, a such species, I bet that this would probably be one of them.
Could be.
You know, so yeah, the Invisibles.
Let's see the tape. Let's go.
On to the video scope.
The Invisibles from Constellation Mensa. This race has been seen in high security areas and are known to roam areas with high populations, since they cannot be seen by the human eye. Although they cannot be seen with the human eye, they can be viewed by security cameras and window reflections. Allegedly, the US has the technology to track this species. This race leaves a foul, sour odor when they are around and attract the attentions of dogs and cats. Their purpose remains unknown.
All right, folks. So we're back. We hope you liked the video. Next one we're going to talk about.
The Rock.
I like this one.
R-A-K, Rak.
I mean, outside of its name, this one.
These are very, very interesting race. It says of the 58 race described here, this is the race that least visited Earth that we know of so far. Only 5 times. They visit the areas we know as the Middle East, and that created the belief in the jinn. The jinn is like a Middle Eastern term for spiritual beings and demons, or so-called genies in the Islamic mythology. According to some Muslim scholars, they habit an unseen world in a dimension beyond the existent dimension in our universe. According to reports from the alien race, they stopped visiting Earth because their immune system could not cope with Earth fauna and flora. Wow, very, very interesting.
So, what I liked about it, the first thing is that this alien in particular, as described in our in the book, right? It shows up as almost similar to the Octoman.
Yeah.
Had tentacle-like features. It was very big. It was massive. In terms of appearance, it looked like a bodybuilder, right? Also,
Kind of like me.
yeah, kind of like you. That's right. Frank Walls, a man of action. So, going back to this, the Rak, right? Responsible for the jinn and genie mythology. An alien from outside of the U.S. and Russia. It's in the Middle Eastern continents. You don't really hear about that a
Yeah,
lot, right?
that's not common.
That was a great segue, right? Like just to jump into something where Arabian Nights and other legends exist.
Aladdin.
Right? Aladdin, right? And these tales are a little bit more skewed. They don't necessarily involve aliens. But what better person could tell or be an origin point for a jinn or a genie?
So maybe the genie was an alien? Well, he was kind of blue.
Well, based on the descriptions, they kind of appear bluish.
Yeah.
Or greenish in nature. I was just wondering about the ecology, right? I was thinking about how this specific species has ventured into Earth 5 times, allegedly, according to the documentation, but it couldn't stay long enough because our ecology was damaging to them. The other interesting piece was the dimensional piece, right? You know that science and physics always describe, the theory of having multiple dimensions and planes.
Yeah.
So the way they're explaining it is, yeah, they're in another dimension outside of our dimension system.
Gotcha.
So in other words, there's probably other systems with their own dimensions.
So they're like interdimensional beings. That's what they are, pretty much. So then maybe they can go through a portal or something like that and appear and disappear, and
Right.
could be,
Yeah. So I found this particular species very interesting. I like the whole, believe it or not, I like the whole Islamic Muslim mythology that's tied into it in lore, because a lot of the times people don't think about those things, like how a culture, a religion, kind of amplifies that lore, and this is one of them that actually does it well, right? So yeah, the Rak.
very interesting race.
R-A-K, not the rack. R-A-C-K. So with that, let's look at the Rak video.
The Rak, constellation unknown. They have visited Earth at least 5 times throughout history. Their purpose remains unknown. This race is responsible for the creation of the jinn or genies in Islamic mythology. According to the mythology, they reside in a dimension outside of the dimension in our universe. It was told by an alien species at the Council of Five that this species' immune system cannot tolerate Earth's ecology. Last documented sighting is in 712 AD.
So that concluded our segment for all things alien in search of aliens, right? More to come. There's a lot more to come, but we're gonna start digging into not just aliens, but UFOs. There's another document that contains different descriptions of unidentified flying objects and unidentified submerged objects, which means underwater, right?
I have a question. What if the Octoman could be a rock that's decided to stay on Earth, and maybe they can survive underwater better than the outside of the water due to their octopus look like
So if I had to perceive this, right? If I had to perceive this as a real thing, my thoughts is that the stories lie in a desert area of I guess the desert area of the Arab continent or Muslim continent, Islamic,
Gotcha.
right? Those are extreme areas, right? So you have
Really hot.
really hot
And
desert and dry area, a lot of sand and salt. If this creature requires moisture, then an ideal place would be like the northern hemisphere of the United States or Russia, right?
or the Ohio Lake.
Or the Ohio Lake or river. So yeah, so I would think that if that was the case, that would be a plausible idea.
Could be.
You know, it'll be an entertaining one. But yeah,
You never know.
I like that. So you like ghosts?
Yeah, they're very scary.
I don't.
You don't like ghosts?
Nah, actually, only because I'm afraid of them.
Okay.
Ideally, no, but everybody loves a good ghost story, and there's not enough ghost videos on TikTok, on YouTube. I mean, you can look up tons of really cool videos.
A lot of them.
From from Slatham, Nuke's Top 5, and these are all great. I mean, I'm a big fan, and I watch these videos. So, yeah. So what we do here in the next section is.
So you don't like ghosts, but you enjoy watching ghost videos?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to encounter the experience of being in a paranormal situation.
I don't know.
And anybody who's gone through that can probably say the same thing. The allure and the awe is great, but if
Yeah.
it's happening to you, it's like,
It's
no.
no go.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that in the next segment, we're going to review 3 videos from TikTok that have been posted by TikTok users and just share our thoughts.
Yeah, let's watch and see.
So let's go to our paranormal segment and on to the video scope.
Let's go.
So,
Are you ready to be scared?
I don't know. I hope not. I hope not. But here we go. Video 1.
Let's see.
So that video was provided by Slasher Grove.
Slasher?
Yeah, Slasher Grove. At Slasher Grove with TikTok. And basically what that was a skinwalker. Now, I think that in a situation like that, anyone would more than likely be in the same position she is.
I'm gonna be running.
Well, I mean, it looks like there is nowhere to run. Did you see that?
That's
Did you see the face? Let me see if I can pause it. I mean, look at that. Look at that face.
wow. Looks like a demon.
Yeah. So in my mind, right, it's like, where the hell am I gonna run to? This guy's smiling. He knows he got me in the bag, right? Like it's over. So yeah, this is creepy, and it's not just creepy in the sense of it being paranormal or being a skinwalker. It's just the idea of someone other than the people you know in your home crawling towards you with the level of comfort that that specific creature or thing has. you know, in your brain finds it very difficult to process, right?
You know something? We never know what happened to the person. Every time we put a video like this, we never know what happened after. You know, like
So
that would be very
Let's segue
interesting,
into it.
right?
let's segue into it and see.
Do you think?
So here's what I think. Let's give this careful thought. If a person posted a video such as this one, and they're undergoing some kind of abduction or scare, one or two things typically happens, right? And the first one is that they're in such a fear-stricken situation that they tend to just show it as proof, and then they just don't want to talk about it anymore, right? And then there's the other side, people who do show it, but then the fear of constant ridicule and
Gotcha.
right? Society's built like that, right?
Yeah.
Where things like this that we discuss tends to be, you know, very hard hitting, right? People have a tendency to go and say, hey, you know, this guy's crazy. He's talking about ghosts and paranormal stuff. And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't happen until you experience it yourself, right? And then when you experience it, because you already know what's going on, you're not going to talk about it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, in my mind, this particular video is one of those videos that when a person experienced it and they survived it, they're probably not going to talk about it afterwards. They're probably going to just try to find a safe space.
Right.
However,
They probably need therapy after that.
more than likely. However, if you look at it, you know, this really looks something more like one of those what they call video clips that are made, right, and just for entertainment purposes only, type thing. So I like it.
Very scary.
Do I believe it 100%? No. Is it possible? Yes.
Could be.
I believe it's possible. All right, so on to the next video. And this one you're going to like.
Let me see.
And this one is from At Nightmare God.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay. No. This thing is so weird.
Oh, this is worse.
Can you understand me?
All right, so
Those don't look like a dog.
that's the thing. That appears to be some kind of mutation between a human or
Something, right?
animal hybrid. You ever heard of the Montauk experiment?
No.
All right, so this is real cool. Check this out. So in New York, there's a place called Montauk, right? And it was a lab.
That's the island?
Yeah. So
Okay.
in that lab, they I guess allegedly, and I put air quotes allegedly, it appears that experiments were done, and off the shores of Montauk, heading into like some of the beaches.
They were finding rare animals on the shore, right?
Right. So
Apparently
so,
they were doing chimeras.
so there, from there, the legend was born of the Montauk monster.
Wow.
Right? So this particular video, and I'm just gonna fast forward into that video towards the end.
This thing is so
This
weird.
particular species reminds me of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like some kind of experiment gone wrong.
Where is that? That island is outside New York, right? It's close to.
It is in New York. So Montauk is part of New York.
You're
It's
right.
like part of the Long Island.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's. I mean,
For all of you New Yorkers, there's a laboratory
Can you understand?
outside of your city creating any type of animals. So kind of like Resident Evil vibes here. So be
so
on the
what-
lookout.
so what if I told you that the inspiration behind Stranger Things kind of ties into the Montauk?
Oh, really?
So 11 came from a lab. That lab was,
Yeah.
so there's kind of like some parallels between that, but that was a big deal.
Wow.
And to this day, that place has been abandoned since. Where people go there and they venture off to check it out and stuff, and it's just crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, so that's why this particular thing is very plausible, only because they've actually found videos of the Montauk Monster dead on the shore. Of course, they ruled it out to the water and the bloating of the body, but
Yeah.
it's like this thing was like a dog with a beak. You know what I mean? It was just weird. So that's our paranormal video number 2.
Wow.
Yes or no?
That one it could be a dog that was born with a defect. You know, could be.
Okay.
You know, like in The Simpsons, they had that fish with 3 eyes.
Right.
So hey, could
Right.
be.
So let's look at video number 3.
It came out of nowhere.
Get out of town. No way.
The light doesn't work. Oh my god. That's bad.
Oh my god. Okay, so first of all,
That's scary.
these are jump scares, right? It's always one of those things where you expect to see something, but how they show up, right, throws me off. But these,
That was a good one.
This was a good one. I always end up going through this when I watch these things. There's never enough jump scares, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, it's good for the heart. But let's watch it one more time. Let's watch it one more time and take a look at it.
Oh my god.
You see that? So this video is from @horror_zone at TikTok. So check out his video. This reminds me of the what's those movies like The Ring,
Yeah.
Jewel. What's the other one?
There was one of a little boy, right?
You ever heard of The Eye?
The Eye?
So that's another Japanese movie you gotta watch. It's like it plays into this, right? And if this is real, oh my god! Like this is the stuff that you could end
Creepy.
up you
Very
could you
creepy.
could end up paranoid for the rest of your life. I mean, I don't know any person who would want to look under their bed in the middle of the night. That's definitely not me.
Yeah.
So let's continue.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
That's scary.
So that reminds me of not The Ring. The other one. There was another one.
There was another one about it was a ghost in a house, something like that.
Yeah. But that's what that reminds me of. But even that, this is like nightmare fuel, right?
That's why when I wake up for in the middle of the night for a midnight snack, I go like light on, light on, light on until I get
It's
to
like
the
those.
kitchen.
It's like those videos where they go to the kitchen and then they run, turn off the light, they keep running and turning off the switch.
like tuk, 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 tuk.
So this is definitely one of those.
Yeah.
And it's creepy. It's really creepy. All right, so on to the next section. Wait, did you see that?
Yeah.
Hold on. We gotta go back. Did you see her eyes?
Yeah, that big eyes.
No, it was her face. Her facial distortions really.
Like a green face, huh? Like a pale green.
Look at her eyes and what it
Oh wow, that's scary.
Wow. No. Definitely no. All right. overall, paranormal videos. There's the kind you see on TikTok, and there's the kind you see on shows, right?
Yeah.
Where there's actual investigators. We're gonna start looking at those in preparation of future shows where we're gonna actually go and venture off other individuals.
Yeah,
who
we're gonna
actually
try
do this
to
for a
visit
living.
some places. So let's see, we can do that, and we're gonna be protected by God.
So with that, my thoughts is that these are intriguing. Some are believable.
Yeah,
Most are not, but they're entertaining.
they are.
I call it adrenaline fuel, right? It kind of, even though you know it's not true, the idea of it possibly happening is what really fuels you, right? And just creating that mental imagery.
There's a bunch of stories out there for a reason, you know. So
Some things you just can't unsee.
exactly.
So we're going to lighten up the load on these kind of videos until we find some really more intense ones. And we'll start looking at the paranormal reviews of those who are actually investigating and share that with you guys so we can get your thoughts. Yeah, I thought it was cool.
I was very interesting videos and scary as well.
I mean, apparently, you saw me almost running out of here, but
Never look underneath your bed, especially at night, guys.
all right. So up next,
We got the creepy stuff.
so on the creepy stuff, we last episode we spoke about the South, right, and how there are lands beyond the South. And in my segment for Rocking Out with J Rock, we spoke about the potential for there being life as we imagined it out in the South because there's new land.
Terra Infinita.
Right, Terra Infinita, right? And we looked at the maps and we discussed about Admiral Richard Berg. And in that discussion, I just felt like there was so much to say.
Yeah.
And I got excited. I said, okay, that's great. But what about the North?
Right? With there's not much.
Everybody knows the North Pole for Santa Claus.
Yeah, and the magnetic north. You know.
Right? The magnetic North. So all campuses move to the North.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Well, you're gonna find out because I did some legwork, and basically this started with something called analog horror, right? So there's a lot of YouTubers out there who tell these amazing tales and provide footage. There was a story about a man named George Torrill, right? And he did a private interview with CNN, according to the allegedly did an interview with CNN in 2011, right? And it was talking about how he is a fisherman, and basically they go to the North, and this was during a time where things weren't regulated,
Gotcha.
right? So they would go to Alaska, they would go to the North Pole, and essentially they would go fishing.
The treaty was not signed yet.
Yeah. So at that point, they were talking about how these big, unusually large, mutated fishes and lobsters. Now, in my discovery, I noticed that this is what you call analog horror.
Yeah.
So in my research, I found that this was not true. However, I was compelled,
Okay.
and the power of compulsion is a very swift one.
Very strong feeling.
Yeah. So I figured, okay, let me do some legwork and let me share what I found, because what I got was more interesting than that story.
Really?
Yeah.
What lies in the water of the north?
Yeah, let's do it.
Tales have been written by sailors of their adventures in the northern oceans. Dangers such as glaciers and strange encounters with species never seen by man has been told time and time again. But what if I told you that there may be a possibility these tales are true and an explanation may be provided? You see, the ocean is vast and deep. Some areas can potentially hide creatures of magnitude and complexity that can only be left to the imagination. The rumors that the discoveries are kept secret by those in control. Documented pictures and videos of species that only exist in mythological stories. Images that appear Lovecraftian in appearance. Creatures with bizarre deformities and are larger than are typically seen have been mentioned in these reports. Lobsters, serpentine-type creatures, and even the famous kraken have been reported. Some of our ancient maps depict the North Pole as the center of the Earth, and it hides a mountain that has the strongest magnetic force. The video you are about to see shows allegedly the Mir's Russian satellite recording this vortex from space in 1987. Theorists and religious scholars make mention that this is the original Garden of Eden, which was split into 4 islands containing 4 rivers that is heavily guarded by these creatures. Rumors of 100-foot waves prevent entering this area. Now let's talk about it.
All right.
Very interesting video.
Yeah. So that was
Big.
so I actually had to read several books, right? Some of these books were religious texts, right? The Bible, and other from various religions. Not just, I'm just naming the one I'm more commonly addressing. But apparently it's true. When Eve sinned,
Yeah.
the Garden of Eden was split into 4 lands with 4 rivers
Four
that were
rivers.
protected by 4 entities. Now I don't know if those entities are angels or demons. I didn't dig into that too much, but there was a mountain. And that mountain, in the old cartography maps, was called, I believe it's called Rupes Negri, or
Rupes Negri.
Black Rock.
Black Rock.
Right? Apparently, this is the highest mountain in all of the world, and it is magnetic. Right?
Shout out to Black Rock. You know,
Yeah.
they're buying everything.
So, so apparently, the North, as we perceive it, is really the center of the world, and the Black Rock is the magnetic North. And anything that's surrounding those 4 lands beyond that is what we see on the regular called the North Pole or the Arctic, right? After you hit a certain threshold, the waters are no longer calm. You got rogue waves, 100-foot waves. This really threw me off only because the reports about animals there appear to be very abnormal. So it kind of tied into the whole analog horror piece, right? Because in the analog horror discussion in the video I saw, it was in Alaska,
Gotcha.
but this was more towards the north. Now, we already know that magnets and radiation and changes in polarity and dynamics have a tendency to morph, right?
Yeah.
Like part of evolution. Some people adapt and they evolve, and others just fade away from existence.
That's where we have the Aurora Borealis, right?
Yeah, that's where we have the aurora.
Yeah.
So this was an interesting topic only because I could envision that, right? Like, what if nobody could actually reach the actual center?
It could be that because not everybody visit those areas, maybe these animals have too much room to grow and they become bigger. Could be that, you know?
And maybe I am just obsessed with trying to find some reason to justify that all these mythological creatures of legend and lore do exist.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just being biased, right? So yeah, but I think that these kind of stories make a great case. But onto that video, right? Give me 1 second here. Onto that video, right? There was a video where you see the polar vortex inside of the center of the North Pole.
Gotcha.
And inside of that center of the North Pole, that was actually shot from a satellite in 1987.
Wow.
Right? And that was from, allegedly, from the Mir satellite, which is a Russian satellite, and that was captured. And it was an anomaly, right? That wasn't common, and it was very strange. But since then, there hasn't been any footage of that. I found it very interesting. And I would like everyone's take on it. You know, for those of you who are watching or going to watch later in the recording, when it gets posted, share your thoughts and comments, and we can continue to discuss this and elaborate. And if it's something worth going into greater detail, I think it's so worth it. I just don't want to do the legwork if the individuals don't find it amusing and they want to see something else.
Yeah.
But this one is great, and it also ties into like the Garden of Eden, right?
Yeah.
There's what, now that we have this kind of context, now we can envision, right, what it looks like. So you see on the slide, this was all AI generated. I just described it, but I could dig a little deeper and describe it even better.
Yeah. When Eve and Adam they were expelled from the garden, they were put some angels to guard the doors.
Right.
And nobody else could go back inside. And even when Adam, when Adam was dying, they were gonna send one of his sons to the garden to ask, because apparently there was like a special fruit that they will eat, and I think that was the life of the tree of life, because there were two trees that the truth of knowledge, that was the one they were not supposed to eat, but the tree of life, that was, if they keep eating that, that will keep them immortal or lasting longer. So when they put the angels guarding the garden, that's why Adam lasted so long. I think he lasted for 300 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 900 or 300 years.
Don't you notice that, like in these stories,
Yeah.
these particular individuals lived a lot longer than us humans today?
Because it was a curse that was put, I think, after the Tower of Babel. That's when they put that we only gonna live 120 years. Because before that, our lifespan was longer. I don't know if because the diet that they were having, or
So there was something called manna,
yeah,
right? And I've read it. I've seen it in some of the older texts, and nobody to this day can describe it. Now, for a gamer, I play games, specifically RPG games. We associate mana with magical power, but based on ancient texts, this is something physical, tangible. If you eat this, your lifespan would endure a lot longer periods of time, and there were things that just helped you overall with your body and your lifestyle. I guess that was never discovered because here we are.
yeah,
But yeah, so interesting, right? How things like this particular video of the 1987 satellite viewing, change the dynamics of what the North Pole can be perceived as. You know, we always associate it with Santa Claus and reindeers and polar bears, but we never look at it from the idea that, hey, I've never seen anyone go that deep
oh yeah,
into the north, right? Now you got boats that break in through ice and whatever, but it's never that far in. So those are my thoughts, and I thought I wanted to share that. And I hope you liked the video.
I hope you guys like it. It was very interesting, and we put a lot of effort on it. So you can always hit like, subscribe, and comment on our chat. I mean, we love doing this, guys. We really enjoy it.
So again, just remember to go to youtube.com/Bacchus and Hef, so that you can review some of the cultural lifestyle choices you can have with regards to cigar culture,
Oh yeah,
a good beer.
beers are
Understand-
always good.
right. And those things are important because there are people that like that stuff, right?
So I have a fact here. It says Adam lived for 930 years.
Wow,
That's a lot. That's a lot.
that is an immense amount. And what about Eve?
There's no specification on the text about Eve. Like it didn't record. Probably the same, because when he died, she was alive. So they're kind of both have the same age.
What about Noah?
I don't know about Noah, but I know Methuselah. That was the oldest person that lived in the Bible. He was the one that was Noah great grandfather. You know, like Methuselah. That's why there's a saying, that we say that in Puerto Rico a lot, like this is more older than the Matusalem, Matusala.
How do you say that in Spanish?
Matusalem.
No. How would you say the whole thing?
It will be este más viejo que Matusalem.
Matusalén.
Yeah. Wow. Very, very interesting.
Yes. Okay, folks. So that concludes our episode 5. We made it 5 episodes
Wow.
long, plus a pilot episode. We hope you're enjoying the episodes and that you continue to support and like the videos. We'll be posting up the shorts shortly in YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And we just want to say thank you from behalf of Frank and myself for just showing us love and support.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to do the best we can to deliver some really good content. And your feedback is extremely important. So make sure you reply to the chats on the videos. And thank you so much. And we'll see you next week for episode 6.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the support, guys. Have a good one.
All righty.